don't know if there's a good connection, but what I'm trying to do, I'm shining this up to the ceiling. So I'm just doing a voice going live. It's 3OK UK. The subject is reference to conditional acceptance of an offer. We can claim an offer. It's to a particular housing company, and they have a department known as Independent Complaints Panel, meant to be made up of other men and women that rent a home from the housing company per se in UK. And the involvement team, they're based up in Leeds, UK, and there's no guarantee when we'll get anywhere. So I've been too ill all week to do anything about this. So today on Sunday, 29th of October, it's already dark. What's the time? It's about just gone 5 in the afternoon. So this will get posted, fingers crossed, depends if I can get all these other emails on top that's been going on. The subject is on the disability, let me just go back to the quotation. I'm going on to a document dated even back on the 6th of October at 2 PM in the afternoon, that's Friday 2017, and it's quoted as in statute law, protection from harassment at 1997. In the words I read up on, it's a criminal offence of harassment when a landlord employees does something that deliberately interferes with enjoyment of one's home, and it's intended to make one's life and one's home to take away one's lawful rights. The threatening behaviours by this particular housing company, men and women employees, on the Friday the 29th of 9th 2017, a cold calling while I was in hospital, by the way, and I got evidence of that, the medical evidence and reports, at 2 PM without one's consent. And then there was a phone call on an old and mobile, not used since 2013, and that was done by a female employee while seriously, as I said, in hospital, NHS one in one's area. Now, I got the date wrong here because it was dated Wednesday the 27th of the night, just after my birthday that week, until the Saturday evening when I got discharged, to which affects one's health and disability, which has been made worse. And her phone call and a voice message on that phone number, where does she get that from? Old housing records, most probably. Well, nobody's come up with the facts, first-hand knowledge of this, and she was making threatening words and the tone of her voice used as well. Now, who's behind this is another male called, I won't say what it's called, but it's a male. If I do not consent to a further face-to-face meeting with other employees, and again, my spelling email is long-winded, and I was very, very ill trying to get this out, so you have to bear with me on this. And it's basically, he is behind his job role, I found out since, is a central area, and they all work from home. A lot of these men and women work from home, by the way. So you check out a Facebook page of a particular home group. Well, I've said it now. It's Home Group Limited. Okay, they're a company. The head office in Newcastle, and there's division when they rent out homes, i.e., whether it's a family home, a house, or flats. Okay. Now, there's a lot going on in one's area, which I won't go into right now, not just about me, but there's other things I know about, okay? Now, this man's letter dated, and it came from an area claimed to be an office in Peterborough in UK. Well, my mates have looked and they've closed that office down. So, it proves it was dated and made to cause this effect onto me. Dated on the 25th of 9th 2017. It was a Monday, and the wording and threats, the tone of the words used was by this guy called Stephen. If I do not consent to meeting further employees, him or others, and this is how it came across in this letter. And then this female works in this company's head office. They call it complaints department, but she's been working there for years. And so to date, constantly, her emails are constantly contradicting itself, and the words as well, and his hearsay comments, made claims again. And this other guy, he works for Mighty Property Services Limited in the UK. It's an area office, head office in Bristol, but they have an office in Milton Keynes. Of the contract they have with to do repairs in the rented accommodation, houses and flats, okay? Now everything's being streamlined online now, and the call centre takes all calls. The call centre, men and women, who you don't know, from Adam, based up north in Newcastle upon Tyne. So, just briefly outlining that I'm trying to get these emails as evidence of proof for the next stage. To hold these men and women accountable for the fact that, well, obviously key decisions are being made without, it's all proof, how it's all worded, all these emails and correspondence, never by post now, it's all online by email. There's a reason for that, because preparing in statute law to seek possession of this flat. Now, in statute law, secure tenure means these. I've even sent all this up to the in-house lawyer, Katie, and also to the man, CEO, directly himself, for the first-hand knowledge of the truth of facts on record to date, okay? All ignored. What does that say to you, right? Now, this is not only because I'm making streams, not only because of me. There's thousands of men and women and families affected by they call it, the buzzwords going around now in statute policy, integrated health, care, housing, social for people with disabilities. They're going back in history, pushing people into care establishments, well, they're private care homes. They're companies run, whether it's national companies that run them, or private individuals set up companies and run them for profit. Okay, so it's like a warehouse of vulnerable, whatever type of illness or disabilities one has, all these labels, and to like treat as cattle, not as a human individual with lawful rights, human rights. The violations of human rights and one with disabilities is huge. Now, there was a notice of opportunity to cure and went to Home Office, as said, in Newcastle, which has been ignored again. And that was what they call it, stage 1 complaint procedure. Now, by the way, there's a disclaimer here. One has never made the complaint. It was the CEO man himself who did that. Now, all my lawful requirements to make lawful reasonable adjustments, and it's all since a report of a uneven flooring in, they call it now a bathroom, not the wet room. And bear with me because the connection should be okay. And so that was at the beginning of July, and now we're October. How many months is that? How many other people have experienced similar with other companies in social housing in statute law? Or if you work in if you rent from private housing and you got disabilities, or you got a young one, a family member. I just wanted to know if you got an experience of this. Be interesting to know on a bigger scale of things, on a national scale really, because when one looks at the in-depth side, not just on housing, look at the agenda, what's going on in so-called UK Conservative government, right? And the draconian measures, implementations, they call it cutbacks in housing, social care, NHS, anything to do with public sector services to have equality of life is being cut to the bone. There's an agenda behind it all. I'm not going to go into it all right now because it's too long to do so. Now, in personal things have happened to me over the period of years where I reported things through the necessary framework to go to the correct departments, correct employees in the public sector. Nothing got upheld because we all protect each other. I found out a lot by studying contract law, many subjects on top, conjunction with common law. Then I've had to learn a lot more in statute law recently on the key subjects in grounds to seek possession, on using the Housing Act 1988, and I think it's also 1989. There are so many clauses, and it's key to be careful if one puts a feeler out to get advice. Now, there's red tape also in the sense of what used to be known as legal aid. It's now called Legal Aid Agency, part of Ministry of Justice. So if you're trying to seek advice, you get the advice lines. You may not get through anywhere. If you even get to a citizen's advice in housing subject, one is on a waiting list and one cannot always get to see somebody. That's how serious everything's getting. That's just one subject. Then if you even try to seek a lawyer, a law company, it needs to be a large company that can take on a complex work in this subject because it's quite detailed and specific, especially when it's disability issues and human rights and discrimination combined. Because it needs to have, you need to get all your evidence together. Thank you for watching, you're joining in. I'm just talking to help me and others be aware of what's currently happening and why. Now, the mainstream newspapers put a feeler on the website known as Disabled People Against Cuts recently. Now, as I said, I think I said today's date, Sunday, yeah? So, in UK, I'm sorry about this, I'm quoting, this is important because of the changes that's coming in now and how people in my situation, how housing disrepair issue can easily turn into a major disrepair on the excuse to try and get a face-to-face meeting with housing employees. They're not local, they all work from home now. And it's worth checking that out because I think you might find there's other housing companies in the social sector, okay? I'm quoting statute law at the moment. Now, the only reason they're trying to offer face-to-face, which when you look at the pattern of comments and emails, you see the pattern. Well, we start learning to anyway, which I've done to date, because there's more, there's about another 10 emails to print out. So you can imagine how much ink that's going to take up later. And so therefore, the housing employees are being used. Now, this is a key one to look into, if you like. It's called the Care Act 2014. Within that statute, there's clauses includes housing. There's clauses that includes adult safeguarding. It's all integrated with also health care, NHS England. The funding streams all are merged together now, 2017. It's getting more and more by next year as well. In the mainstream media, as I said, there's one of the newspapers, independent, wanting to hear from people that was having or being blocked to getting, they call it a personal care on, say, nursing side in your own home funding. From your GP, your doctor, but from, it's called commissioning groups. Every town and city has one. They have several actually, and that's been cut back so they can claim to save funds. Now this journalist, female, went on the website, you can look it up, it's still on there, Disabled People Against Cuts.net, I think it is. You can Google it and check it out. And it's the Independent to get us trying to gather information about people in that situation. But it's not just on that subject, it's wider than that. It's wider subjects included, because it's not just on NHS continuing care policy, it's implemented everything together within the Care Act 2014. I've had to read up on it, it's been quite a long read, and that was last week. So I'll go back to why the constant offer and push of face-to-face meeting is to make presumption that one is not coping in one's own home to do another claimed safeguarding referral without one's consent. Now, this is key to know if you don't know already. Anyone in one's position, which if you've seen my other videos I've made without the stream about what's going on in my situation, this is important to know. Anyone works in public sector funded services in UK, connection with private companies linked in with the contracts and terms and conditions being public funded in conjunction with, i.e. housing benefit for your rent. Okay? That was, I was reconnecting. That got interrupted because when you mention certain subjects, right, Big Brother, you know what I mean by that. If you're waking up to certain knowledge, they don't want facts to get out. So I don't know what you caught of that, or whether I'm starting again or I'm still connecting to the same topic on Protection from Harassment Statute of Disabled People in United Kingdom 2017, quoting on disability discrimination in housing, quoting on violations of human rights, and quoting how it's all connected with the Care Statute 2014. And there's noise above me from people that are dead asleep that don't give a monkeys. Unfortunately, where I live, no longer is any support or kind neighbours. They all look out for each other. Very, very, very deliberate. Okay, housing company. I don't know what you heard or what's been cut off on this stream. Conditional acceptance of offer and contract law. You counterclaim an offer, and one has done all this already for so many times. And the fact they're trying to use the housing disrepair, blocking all repairs, everything since one's been in hospital. I'm just doing this to help other people know that there's an agenda behind this, to push you out your flat or your home to go into care homes. It's all also in the mainstream. NHS England, every town and city, whether it's cutbacks, is all behind all this, is social care, different policies and budgets, is all to push people with high complex care disability needs into privately run, national owned or locally owned, where you are, perhaps where you are, depending, care homes. And you hear about elderly being abused in care homes, learning disabled men and women already being abused in care homes. So what safety measures are there for people with high complex disability needs and being not cared for because of further cutbacks in care packages, care plans? Okay, so this is the first-hand knowledge of the true facts record of the parties. In case it got cut off, I'll restate the date, 29th of 10th 2017, Free OK UK here. So what one is trying to highlight here is the violations If you look at the human, got interrupted, bear with me. If you look up on the subject of UN violations of human rights, people with disabilities, I think the date was the 24th or the 25th of August 2017. Please read it and share it. Please check out our website. Constantly they update and do their best. It's Disabled People Against Cuts. You can Google it and check it out. Disabled people, disability rights. A lot of these helpful websites and helplines mean well, but the cutbacks in public funding to, especially when you're being faced of eviction, even though one has an offer secure tenure in housing law, I'll quote again, in case you didn't hear that, 1988 Act and 1989, there's clauses in that of the grounds to seek possession. So bear with me, the interruption of the noise. I have not been dishonourable in any of my dealings with any man or woman working in particular this housing company or their contracted repairs company employees. It's the opposite to me. Okay. So the recent notice of dishonour and opportunity to cure to the CEO, board directors, the head office up north in UK, constantly, again, recently. My friend did that, dated Friday. The date of Friday was 27th of the 10th, 2017, 5 pages long. At the beginning of the sentence, at the top of it, was to reject the offer face-to-face, again, on my own, with 2 unknown females. Now, in that email, the male behind it, his job role is contracts manager, region in one's area. They all work from home, by the way. Now, you look on Facebook, on men and women experiences this past year of their treatment by, whether it's a call centre employees, a Home Group Limited housing company, or different areas of subjects. Please check it out, because there's a lot of negative reviews, unfortunately. So I'm not alone on this, but it makes it a bit more but the violations and the threatening of words and behaviours is really unlawful, basically. And if you read up on the reviews people are putting up on experiences, I'm not the only one going through what I'm going through, but it's more serious in my situation because I have medical equipment, high care needs, and the word complex means funding nightmare in these employees' eyes. And it also means, in the public sector point of view, how could it be cheaper to put someone in a care establishment, care home, full time, than have a package of care of your choice, it's called direct support funding budget and care plans to meet your needs in your own home? So there's a big question mark on that one, isn't there? But in the recent information on mainstream media trying to get their heads around it, I'm sure, but there's a bigger agenda behind it all. Now, I am not attached to this flat. I never have been. But I'm not going to make myself intentionally homeless, and be careful with those clauses. If there's an offer to, we only need you to temporarily move out. Now, unless you get everything in writing by the housing national company, the team of lawyers, men or women, directly confirming one is not going to be intentionally homeless, because despite the gesture and an email comments in their department of complaints, head office, employees, men and women, they do not have the lawful authority to claim or to confirm either way that you still have secure attender in the Housing Act 1988, 1989. It's worth looking into Landlord and Tenant Act. I can't quote the year because I haven't got that in front of me right now. Please be extremely careful not to meet anyone face to face on your own. If you're lucky enough to have a trusted family or support worker or friend with you, independent, meant to be, of the housing company. But unfortunately now they're not independent. They work together in conjunction with... I can't read any messages if you're messaging me on this phone. Sorry about that. I'll read them after if I'm able to. So let me just see if I can read anything. No, I'm streaming, but I can't read any messages. Alright, let me just check. It's a new phone, so... No, this phone won't let me see any messages, so sorry about that if you are trying to comment. So all I've been seeking, I'm going back to everything I've done to date in honour and lawfully, is proof of first-hand knowledge of comments by a male called John. Bear with me, it says bad connection, but I know the connection's fine. Okay. Since 4th of the 9th 2017, I've never denied access lawfully and honourably to men and women with full ID of reference to all this disrepair that started off a simple repair of flooring to a major, their opinion now, major structure repair to dismantle all of what's in that so-called wet room now, and to take out all the flooring, take out the toilet, sink, tiles, everything. So it's no wonder I can't be here. But the point that I made the last effort was, if you check it out, you can tell that I'm not telling untruths, was the last offer still seeking the proof of why these employees are now claiming they need to take a think out and can't do the work while I'm still here. Which the intention of these two males last visit was that. And that's all changed. And they're pushing constantly the face-to-face meeting, and it caused me to have a minor heart attack and a stroke and ended up in hospital. All caught live feed on Facebook by my daughter-in-law. And how the industry still being harassed by this. It says bad connection, bear with me. Okay, so I've still not seen by email the proof of first-hand knowledge of personal comments by a particular male working for this housing contracted company, repairs employee, contracts manager they call him, and they fail to do that constantly. Okay, so the email reference going to a date 21st of 10th 2017 claimed there was a hotel booked for me. But when I found out and my friend checked out the hotel, it had no level access shower, and they claimed in the email all my high, very heavy disability medical equipment they could transfer to hotel. But it's a standard hotel, business type hotel in one's area. Inaccessible, impossible to safely use equipment, and let alone my friends getting there to care for me for a week. Now, how would I know if there's not more things going on once they took up the floorboards and start the works and they say, well, you can't come back home now, and the only place to go, and by the way, I wouldn't have time to pack anything up. That's what they're planning. Won't have anything to box up all my belongings, and I'll be in that hotel, nowhere near my home, and the next thing will be, oh, we found major problems. I'm reconnecting, bear with me. And anyway, that hotel wasn't suitable, so that's how my friends checked it out online for me and made the phone calls on the Tuesday last week, and found out that no hotel room was booked in my name, or by the company employees' names, or the company name, because no hotel, that particular one quoted in the email, they don't book hotels in a company name. So that was all misinformed by an email that was sent. That was took up, and a following email claiming by another employee in the complaints department of this housing company, could you confirm if you agreed to that hotel? The email went back, well, making it clear it's not suitable, doesn't meet my needs, and the unsuitable alternative accommodation. So who made that booking, one does not know. It's still a mystery. To date, there's been about 9 men in my home, all reference to what's been going on. So this is quite important to keep copies of everything. Now, in this housing company, they call it Customer Solutions Department. And there's another location from the head office. It's all in the same area up north in UK. Right? Let me just bear with me. I'm just writing something down as I talk. Hopefully you can hear. I'm coming to the crunch information in a minute. This is reference to United Kingdom. So there isn't any joint consent in writing I've ever provided to, let me just go back to what this is about. Right, I'm just keeping everything together while I just talk. So there's further comments, and within the Protection from Harassment Act, Statute Law 1997, there's further comments of harassment actions, behaviours since the 21st of 10th to date, 2017, by employees, as I just mentioned, in the companies, okay? Right, so that's that one. Let me just bear with me on this. Just want to make sure I've got, oh yeah, and this notice, this is also 9th of October 2017, the one I sent. All the major upgrades, or it's a whole history, but I won't go into it all. The major works of the kitchen and the upgrade of the wet room never happened, and everybody else around here got theirs, not me. So what's that? No lawful reason adjustments even then. Right, so you can see where, well, you can't see, but I'm quoting about the Housing Act and the secure tenure. It's important to know your rights on this area. And I quoted an email dated Monday the 9th of 10th, 2017 at 2 PM in the afternoon. Again, it's, I made a call under duress while I was in hospital. They refused to help me, you know, to make a call to see what official in the public sector, adult social care, what that looks like now, what official package could offer me, what kind of assessment could they do, since now my needs have changed. They refused to make a call, they refused to help me in hospital, and that is so-called NHS integrated care system, how it works now. They don't want to know. So once I've had all these tests and things done, I was classed as a social need. So what does that mean? In mainstream media, it's called bed blocking. They only wanted me to stay there further. Now you think about it. All this going on in my home. They would want the keys off me. They want all these, if I went for the official care package offer, their employees would come and visit me and they would say, we only can offer you if you give us your keys to your home, and they will condemn this flat straight away. And they won't know the history, they won't be interested, they would just be looking at health and safety for me, and they won't hold, I won't be hold this housing company employees for a dispute repair what's been going on. So I said, can't you put a call in once a month? They call it in the community, in statute law, to this all new design way of working, they call it now. Because even, important to know for anyone in finding yourself in this decision or your loved ones, please remember this and share this if you think it's necessary. Now, how they word it as official package of care, from my experience already, okay? Personal experience, that's how I know how it works, right? The 2014 Care Act, implemented 2016, means there's no such thing as streamlined, straightforward. Everything is more complicated. Nothing is private. Any stranger coming to your home while you're stuck in a hospital, how it was left in an emergency situation, they can judge that in the clause of adult safeguarding, that you're not looking after yourself, that you're self-neglecting, that you're doing this, that and the other, which is not that. It's all to disadvantage the disabled man or woman. Or, on top, to blame your personal arrangement with your private friends or family members. And there'll be a major safeguarding investigation. And they will include the police. They will include everyone that you ever contact or in contact with. They will go into everything. There's no such thing as privacy when that goes on. Now, if you want your data, say that happened, and you want your data to your own personal subject access data in Data Protection Act 1998, you will not get it. The clause within the Safeguarding Care Act 2014 in UK means if it identifies a third party, man or woman, who supplied information about that without your consent, by the way, if that happens, it's happened to me, then you will not know who's been saying things presumption wise, without fact, without backup, without first-hand knowledge. And that stays on their record. You can add your own comments eventually, but how do you know what's said and who's done what without knowing about your data? So that's why all my data has been blocked. And this is what's going on in reality. Nobody seems to get the importance of how there's lack of training in every aspect of men and women are working in the public or private sector, working with disabled people in 2017 plus now. So there's special, especially when you've got high care needs, especially when you've got particular type of housing needs, especially when you've got particular high amount of medical aids for transferring. There's so much in depth, detailed, that a lot of it's got literally cut through and cut, where you're left with no confirmation how, if you're stuck in a hospital, how secure is your home going to be? Who's going to get into your home? Who's going to, you know, all these kind of important facts when you don't have family and friends to go and make sure it's safe, to make sure it's all cleaned up before anyone comes in your home, before you're given any consent if it's official care package offer. So this is why I could not go down that angle. Because I know how they work to gather information in safeguarding, not for your benefit. Unless once you're out of that environment, and you're in your own home, then you've got more control. Who comes to your home, you get your full disclosure, what job capacity, where they come from, what the offer is, and if it's not suitable and it doesn't meet your needs, whatever offer means, what they're trying to imply, whoever it is and what company they work for, and they got first-hand knowledge of what your detailed requirements will be. Now, whether it's still staying in your own home with the correct package of funding, but you're not going to get that now. There is major, all these public funded companies and private companies, right, all interlinked. So you really be careful who you're dealing with, and wording and paper trail, email trail, and record your conversations. If you've got recording app on your phone or device, please, importantly, do that. Protect yourself. There, unfortunately, despite all one's efforts on doing what I've said, they still will push your buttons to get you to back down, to cave into their demands. Now, if I hadn't studied what I've studied all these years, I wouldn't be able to even talk about this, let alone done what I've done to date, despite what's happened to me, okay? There is still, unfortunately, pushing in statute law this to go to court, to take my home away from me, to make me homeless. And then that is where these current new national, implemented everywhere now, the clauses where they want people, you heard about on the mainstream media, if you haven't already, it's important to check out shared life schemes. So instead of staying in the hospital, you're going to a stranger's home. It might be CPR check, but you don't know, do you? Might work, might not work. Do you think anybody with medical high care needs, disability needs, very complex, will be able to feel safe in that environment? Who's going to fund that? The public purse? Your taxes? You're paying taxes? Where's it all going to come from? So that's a big question mark, isn't it? So then I looked at, well, my mate downloaded it in statute law. There's a clause in, I can't remember which one, I've read so much now, but there's a certain clause where you should be able to have a choice where you live. There's only 3 sections. So shared life scheme, you got the care home with your package or care, whatever you might need. Obviously, it's always assessments, and please careful, you don't always get assessed correctly, so bear that in mind. You need to read everything and record everything, because damn well they do, so protect yourself or your friends or family if you can't do it yourself. I'm concerned also about that shared life scheme. What about the blind people? Right? What about those that are deaf, that can't speak, and they can't see, and they do sign language? So who's going to train these families members up within the shared life scheme for all these very high, complex needs or disabled people? Now, what happens, God forbid, if a child loses their family, their parents, so they're orphans, and in the care system, and they have a different system in the shared life scheme for that? How are they going to use the counselling services for bereavement as well on top of all this for them? Who's going to fund that? So none of this is being forthcoming in any mainstream documentations I've read, any mainstream media, nothing. I've had to research and dig a lot with my friend's help. So please bear that in mind. Nothing is straightforward. Never is it? So this is why the training, the experience of disability related to in implemented whatever work environment, who is meant to be providing public services or private services, which all means the same nowadays. So especially when one has specific unfortunate type of illnesses, disabilities, and we're not all the same, otherwise we'll be boring. Just thought I'd add that one for you. Thank you for checking out if you're still hanging in there. Right, let's go on to this next subject. Now, quoting on in statute law, by the way, again, quoting the complaints procedure when one gets an email claiming to be by email only. That is a clear clue that a company employees are being instructed to prepare all the evidence to go to court. So that's when you see in black, in capital letters, by email only. When one's instructions, the counterclaim instructions to only send by normal post only, is ignored, who is in dishonour in contract law? That means the company employees. So when you also, well, when one also in a email looks at specific words and you see a pattern of the same words but twisted around and worded differently in the email, paragraph differently. I'll give an example. I will continue to liaise with local colleagues and try and resolve this solution. Okay, let me just break that down. There's no such thing as local colleagues in housing companies, especially nowadays where it's all online and work from home. You need to know exactly who you're dealing with, what experience they have in disability related issues, whether it's housing, health, social care, combined, whatever. Importantly, to get that in writing. And also, when they word such words as I just quoted, resolve the solution. Now, they're backing out on the official, in their terminology, official complaint. Even though at the top of an email would quote official complaint reference number and the wording at the top of an email. And then the bottom of the email or in the middle of the email, you see these keywords. No. You need to counterclaim that straight away, which I've done. And it goes on to say, again, the keywords will be implemented again, i.e. I go back to this face-to-face offer, to make arrangements for you to move out temporarily, so the work can be done to the bathroom. Now, here we go, a clear point 8 in this particular email. I date Thursday the 5th, it is, at October 2017 again, okay? They're not calling it a wet room now, they're calling it a bathroom. Well, why has that suddenly changed again? You know, these things you start to pick up and look for. Now, especially when there's words where it says, the bathroom is not fit for purpose, therefore, this will have to be removed. It has been decided. And what is it and what do they imply? When you learn these key words and what they mean, and you pick up the sentences, and it's bloody hard work, I tell you. It goes on to, bear with me, it's gone back again, okay. So this is where I sought clarification by this guy called Stephen, Home Group Limited, Contracts Manager. He's just one. He works in construction. You go on to a search in Lincoln page for the business profile, you'll find out this other guy called John. He's an operations manager as well for the repairs company. They are buddies. You look at the history of where they've worked and you build up a pattern. Well, anyway, you don't have to do that, but I've done that. Now, it originally, I'll just quote an example here for me, okay, for you. Originally, this particular female doesn't state the dates, and they can clearly leave that out. And they quote a deadline. Bear with me, it says bad connection again. Oh, I don't realise time. It's getting dark now, don't it? Okay, so bear with me. Right, in their procedure, the company, any housing company, they have a complaint deadline and procedures to go through. So I've done all that. All the floorboards rotten, and it all started. Never knew it wasn't built for a purpose in the first place anyway. Now, these key words, when they say it's not fit for purpose, you research, bear with me, you can research and find out. I've never had a wet room repaired before, let alone what they're trying to imply now. So that's why I'm trying to be careful on what I'm dealing with here. The housing statute, you don't want to just volunteer to leave. This is important to use their complaints procedure. Where it claims words, we, who are we, again, only a lawyer or CEO, the head of the housing company, has the authority to say, no, you won't make yourself potentially homeless. Now, when they put the word here, we arrange suitable alternative accommodation. Be very, very careful. Compare that with the statute words in that subject, suitable accommodation in Housing Act 1988 and 1989 in UK statute law. Please look at that before you agree to do anything voluntary, and also be extremely careful not to meet men and women of the housing company on your own. And how to, because they're trying to imply, discuss, never discuss verbally, because they will try and get you to not have your rights upheld. They know what your rights are, and if you're not sure, they can easily twist words. I'm not saying it will happen, but it can easily happen, because they're not going to pay out over how much it's going to cost. You can imagine the high amount of cost for a major structural, which they're claiming, a whole new wet room. Okay, and the labour cost. So that's why it's important, in my viewpoint anyway, to look at the words they use carefully and how it's implemented, and cross-reference this. If you want to use the statute law, I've also used contract law, okay? But if you don't know much about contract law, just do what you think you know what's best for your situation. So on that basis, on this particular one, where it's quoted, it's been decided. Well, I've sought clarification of all these 9 men to date. It's been in my home, done all these reports. I seek copies of email. Who's made a decision based on what? And who's made a decision that I need to move out of my own home or secure tenure since been here 2017. They need a can-go court, I call it, court order to do that. Now, I've looked into that as well, again, for anyone that wants to know. You can check this out for yourself. Notice of seeking of possession, especially when you're disabled, as I just quoted earlier, and the grounds. Clear, factual information you need to prepare yourself for this. And look at it from a point of view on their side. So you get a copy and download the documentation and read the clauses through. So you're prepared if they try to post anything. Now, if they try to force the face-to-face meeting, it's to serve you personally with a notice. You only have 2 months. You cannot get into a lawyer. You cannot get just to advise services. You can no longer get the backing straight away within 2 months. I've been trying to do all this since July. How many months is it now? Up to October 2017. Okay. You might be very lucky if you've got the right connections and the people behind you. But because of I've corrected all these facts, by the way, and we counterclaim all this already by my conditional acceptance offer, my counterclaim offer, my truth of facts of the record. And the correct facts, again, about my ill health since Wednesday, 27th and 9th. I've got all the evidence I need. And again, there was an email sent. I got home on the 30th of the 9th. This is like last month. So everything I've done, all the correct facts, I can prove everything to date. So all these emails are going in correct date order, by the way. Let me just get it in date order. Yeah, so that was a female employee's email to me on the Thursday. So the Friday, my email was straight back to her and correcting her incorrections. Bear with me. We've got flames going off here. So to date, there is no factual grounds to claim that why one needs to be about why they can't do the work over what's originally offered to me. So that notice of opportunity to cure went again off, but amended again to their lawyer, Katie, head office, and again it's ignored. So you can see how they're playing mind games too. Maybe not, but they are. So again, we're going to, it's just constant going on all this, but I'll just briefly outline the pattern. The reason we want to do a home visit, this housing company employee keeps putting, she's a complaints female employee. We, who are we, yeah, she's not Pacific and he's we, could discuss hotel arrangements with you face to face and confirm the details that you have asked for. Well, hold on. What have I asked for? I haven't asked anything. Just to get the bloody repairs done. So there's presumption being made here. So again, that was counterclaim. And again, they're causing me the harm, the alarm, distress by that harassment phone call again and cold calling at my door while I was in hospital. So they ignored all that by the recent emails that she sent. So my counterclaim email was back and sent for me by my friend in the morning. My conditional acceptance of offer was under duress this time. And I said, I'm having my friends watch over me because the door got kicked in by the police to get public servants in, and I need the door repaired and the Yale lock. And then it went on to the subject on the housing disrepair, and also they ignored the repair job for the hallway wall, and we sent the letter and the emails about or before, quoted that, and the offer reference to a hotel for the time of wet room repairs, and I need to know what home group limited, i.e. in man or woman, is offering to cover the cost, and how soon and how my transport costs be made to the room, the hotel, extra costs on top, and my personal items, my medical equipment, and all these personal details. I'll sought clarification in writing only. Then I'll go on to briefly say that because she quotes an email before this, and so I sought clarification in writing and also from Housing Management Department without prejudice. Please research what without prejudice in contract law. Also, by the way, if one is deemed in statute law vulnerable, the pushing of all these meetings, the pushing on this harassment is completely unlawful as well. So you have, in contract law, you have about 3 working days to get back to their offer to do a counterclaim offer. So automatically on their computer systems, what they do an automatic response. Yeah. So I do not consent to discuss arrangements face to face, and all these recent emails are just pushing that again since to date. So that was then, because you see the pattern of the comments and the emails. We're going to Saturday when I got home from the hospital about the shock of the hospital transport employees got me home, a different company, and found there was a card left in my door, and found 2 keys that are like you lock from inside but they've never been used in my door laying on the floor. Who's got in my flat? when I wouldn't be here. No, I wasn't here. So he got in, and that email was sent in the evening over the weekend to this Home Group Limited Employee Complaints Department. And I was shocked by all this. My friends took photos. Even the ambulance, 2 females, said to me, you need to get the mainstream media involved. Well, you know, you can't rely on that, can you? So all my certain belongings have been missing. I can't report that to the police because the police broke in the door, didn't they? They're not going to believe me. I ran out of mobile data in hospital at the time, so all I could email to say I've been in hospital, the door's left insecure, the top lock works, but the door's split, so it needs to be sorted ASAP. Then an email came back, said we'll go around, make it safe. I don't know. No other email who it was, how they did it, until, as I just said, these people came out and found what they found. So there's evidence photographs to find what happened. And for my future reference, at the moment I haven't posted it up. So it's just to show what happened. So that caused me to have a complete shock and violations of my right to privacy in my own home. There's an email from the hospital. I was in hospital, quoting Thursday, which was, I've got the date wrong on that. So, oh no, it was the right date. 10 to 1, 28th of September. I was trying to work with them, and again, my notice amended of dishonour and opportunity to secure already amended again back then, 26th of 9th 2017, and that's before I got rushed into hospital, to their lawyer, Home Group Limited Company lawyer. Now this email went to their complaints employee department, and it says, I'm trying to negotiate with the hospital discharge team female my concerns and arrangements, what's going on still, and why these comments. I'll just quote, I did in time, waiting for a woman from the hospital I was at, discharge team to see me. And I sent this from the mobile before the data ran out, on mobile data. And so all I could inform her is that this particular female claims who should be, and also what arrangements are still going on, reference to this guy, Stephen, as I mentioned him earlier, Home Group Limited employee, his comments are non-factual. So I've been messed about even when I was in hospital, and that's what I could do. I had to rest. And that's what happened Saturday when I got home. So that was that. Since then, you see, despite me being in hospital, it's important to know that none of these house employees, screws and monkeys, whatever you're going through, really don't. So this email that was sent, because they wake you up early in the hospital wards, don't they? So this is the first email from hospital. There's 2 emails I've managed to send, but this was the first one. And again, since my email in the evening last night, police, emergency services and the ambulance services employees had to break in the flat door. I'm in hospital. I require, I'm just trying to read the text on this at the moment and the writing. I require the urgent repair to the door and the lock. Well, here we are now, and it's not been mended. So what does that say? All block of all repairs is going on, and you look at read between the lines, or keep a diary, keep a journal, keep a voice, perhaps make some notes on a voice app, time dates, see the pattern for yourself or your friends or family, so you don't think you're going off on one. So you can clearly see there's an agenda. I mentioned private detailed information about what happened to me, the brain injury, the stroke, heart attack, and I'm more, unfortunately, unwell. My son's wife saw me live, it happening live on Facebook. I tried to talk to her. My speech and everything went. She called 999, I thank God she did. So I'm not disrespecting the police, what they had to do. And, you know, But the concerns now is for one put in. I was unaware because I couldn't use my right hand to see the only limited mobility I have. So of course now, since all this has happened, I am trying to work with these employees of the housing company, but they're not working for me still, and it's clear all the recent emails that's been going on and the recent comments that's been going on since. They have no interest whatsoever to make sure I remain in my home. And what I've been reading up, because not just me, I wanted to know what new statute policies are in place now and what's an agenda behind this. I went on to quote briefly in this email, I am concerned for my own safety. My health and care needs are more now, as is housing. Now, they will have this as evidence, okay? They will try and use this now as what I quoted earlier in the stream. To use also with, there's a lot of noise around me, so bear with me, it's distracting me. The noisy neighbour of this posh car. Well, you always get people just flash off their cash with their cars when people are going through a lot of difficulties. Anyway, let me go back to point in hand. I made it quite clear that I can't cope. My friends are struggling as well, and I'm seeking clarification what services are available. And I said also, I'm concerned about the lack of repair to the wet room. I says I've never been offered the upgrades of what I mentioned earlier in my stream about the kitchen and the wet room, which is I saying. Then I'll go into the point of view that this means losing my home, moving into a care home with housing. I quoted it like this. So, what does this mean, the viewpoint now of Home Group Limited employees? Are they trying to imply that I might need to move into a care home with support and housing? Question mark. They never ever answered that since. And then I just quoted, I'm concerned because if I'm required to pay for the repairs, but all I had was an email, no, I will not be charged for the repairs of the door. And I quite clearly corrected her on facts about her assumption about a couple of females I mentioned in the hospital trying to seek what could be available in the community. But she failed to mention anything about that, failed to ask me, am I okay, failed to actually confirm, does this mean I'm going to lose my home and still provide the assessment reports? Well, I couldn't really do much from hospital, so proving more facts since then of further harassment and further emails to date. So what more can you do? So ooh, hello. Right, so there is a Fiona on 23rd March Monday of the 10th 2017. Same housing company found out what the hotel it was in one's area, and it doesn't even have a level access shower, and it doesn't even have space enough for my medical equipment. So the email was quoting, we could take your medical equipment to the hotel, as I said earlier. So I found out who the finance business partner and the housing management side is, and the account number of their version. So again, I sought clarification email. I haven't printed it out yet. Who's making a decision based on what evidence, what assessment reports, saying the toilet and the sink is taken out, which there's nothing wrong with it, by the way. Since all the dates I quoted and the emails to date. And I've had no response about that fact. So I said all of this is seriously affecting my health. The difficulty experiencing lawful reasonable adjustments, blocking all repairs now, and the last email was blackmailing me. The comments, blackmail. If I don't agree to a face-to-face meeting, none of the repairs will get done. Can you believe that, how disabled people are treated? Okay. So my mate looked online about what wet room repairs are meant to be looking like. Well, the high cost as well. And I had a response. My mate did anyway for me. And yeah, it is a big job. So that's why I was seeking all along copies. It's not unreasonable to require the evidence of first-hand knowledge of all these reports, or at least a couple key ones, to so one can see exactly what they mean, why they need to do such and such, not just discuss it with me again in the, you know, face-to-face, they call it. So went on again to say, well, it's not just about a level access shower facility, wheelchair accessible, let alone the medical equipment, my care needs. Anybody in my situation like this, by the way, you might have other needs of washing machine, personal like bedding, washing, if you know what I mean. You might have personal aids attached to your bed. You might have the specific needs there. And all of these extra house social care needs and your day on top of the facility or where you might need to live and have, or where you are, it will not be even in the minds of these men and women working in the housing side. Yeah. So all along, conditioning and duress, I gave brief information, just enough to aid them and what my needs are. And there's also this key point I'm going to come to. Anyone in United Kingdom, and if you don't know what protection of vulnerable adults means, please look it up. Please remember that this is just wording in statute law for the benefit of the public sector employees within their statute laws, okay? It's all to do with labelling, and it's basically in conjunction nationally, as I earlier said, with health, care, NHS England. I'm going to quote them all now. NHS England, Department of Works and Pensions, a borough council that does the housing benefit side, your housing companies that rents the flats out or homes out, social county council combined with social adult care. Well, it's the different departments, different. It's so complex now, but briefly just sum it up as adult social care. It's quite different now how they work, so just abbreviations there for you. Now, when there's an offer of an assessment within the Care Act 2014, words are quite keyly, well, the labels, I call it, of a man and a woman, of the disabilities, whatever nature they may be. The key element here for you to know about the protections meant to be in place in statute law. Now, all these men and women working in all these companies, public, private, what I just mentioned, know about this. They imply they don't, but they do. That's their training. They won't get their job if they didn't know this. Now, if you don't know what that means, my sister was trained up in this, so that's how I know more about it. It's worth learning and knowing. Now, how that is implemented in decision making now is very important to implementation, not just in housing now. The key funding element in how all these cutbacks are going on is crucial to protect your rights that you're born with, but even more so. Protect you from the violations of human rights and violations is paramount for every man or woman with any type of illness and disability, especially when men and women are being found fit for work when there's medical evidence and you know exactly that's not factual and it's all profit driven for the bigger picture and a national scale. You can look into that another time, but I'm not going to discuss that right this minute because it's more detailed. Now, the extreme harm, alarm, distress that is caused by not having protection of vulnerable adults protected in any areas I've quoted in the stream today, behaviours, assessments, decision making of key men and women who are not trained in the aspect of generalisation now in their job capacity role is breaching this protection of vulnerable adults in statute law as well as in contract law policy. Okay. Now, if you want to learn more about that, there's many. Just Google it. It's POVA in short, protection of vulnerable adults. What does that mean in reality, and how can that be emphasised when one is dealing with any man or woman within the subjects I mentioned in the stream today? Please bear that in mind, and bear in mind how, bear with me in the connection, kindly bear this in mind if you're experiencing, like I, further direct discrimination because of your vulnerability, because of your disabilities. You might even be parents or family with children with a disabled child. You might be clued up already, but I'm just saying, if you don't know, this is what's available. I've had to do this myself and learn because no one else was helping me. I reached out to get advice, support, and nothing. Okay, so bear with me. I had quoted this in the emails, and it's all been ignored unlawfully. There is a duty of care. There's a lawful duty of care, and that is implemented throughout everything now, but it's absolutely been swept onto the carpet. I just cannot believe how severely it is, absolutely. And if one is working as a family member, as a carer too, even if you're offered as a carer assessment within the Care Act 2014, you really do need to know about these areas of Equality Act 2010 as well as what I mentioned earlier. Because within the aspect of disability, that can mean different things to different people, but if you personally know what you're going through in your health and illnesses, then you only know what Equality Statute Act means 2010. Well, in reality, that has been disregarded now. And that Equality Act is absolutely fundamental in every dealing in one's personal life when you're seeking lawful reasonable adjustments and protection from harassment unlawfully because of this cost-cutting measures. Now, please bear with me because I've lost one more thing to do. Keep all evidence of all correspondence to date. Now, let's bear with me. I'm balancing that today. Gosh, it feels like it's really late, but it's not. It's so dark now outside in UK. Why does the neighbour keep showing off his posh car by revving up his engine? Okay. I'm just going to go into a recent email, so bear with me. Got a dry mouth, so bear with me. Thank you. If you're just going to check this out later, then... Right. I've downloaded so much on this laptop. It's unreal. Okay. I'm just going to try and get into it, so bear with me. It'd be helpful if I signed in with the right information, wouldn't it? Okay. I think I might be able to help you with a starter point of... I'm going to just go into email. Right. The lawyer I contacted in Liverpool, right, about this housing disrepair, it's more draconian now. Even my sister in Wales, now, there we go, that's stated there. Okay, we're going to Fiona's email last Monday, 23rd of October 2014. Let me just click on that. And she got, so this is my email back. What date was that? This was to a Kate in-house lawyer. I think I printed that out already. Let me just check. No, these are emails I need to print out. It's quite long. I've amended it, and it's counterclaiming Lisa's email, 21st/10/2017. Notice of the truth of facts, the record of first-hand knowledge. That was quite short, actually, so thank God. And it was, again, amended notice, second notice of dishonour and opportunity to cure. And it's just key questions, again, asking for evidence with assessment reports about the wet room, and the proof of the fact that unlawful harassment, harm and alarm effects onto my health, and which emails are clear of this also about being in hospital and the housing employees calling me on in hospital. Then it goes on just basically about there's no obligation on my part, again, to offer a face-to-face meeting as an email. I made clear already about this. So since that date, the 23rd of 10th, that was to Fiona. Bear with me. Because she says, thank you for your email. I wonder if you please clarify if you will accept the offer of a hotel room. As I need to advise the local team, doesn't specifically say who they are, or whether to keep the room booking or cancel it. Would you? Well, every time I have tried on my phone records to call a specific mobile or landline of their office number, I'd never be able to get through. So why put a number when you can't get through to anyone anyway? So I put it in an email, quite clearly factual, that my friend checked and there's no booking of a hotel room. Okay, so I fully rebutted her claims, and if you don't rebut their actions and behaviours, then it stands as fact. I quoted again my Rights and Housing Act 1998. So then again, confirm why Mighty employees are refusing to work from 12:30, because that's a reasonable adjustment. I've always been required since July to date, 12:30 p.m. to 5 p.m, as I already made clear on the emails previously. I refer you to previous emails, that's what I put. I'm too unwell to consider offer at the moment, without prejudice, because it did say in the email on a Saturday, bear with me. Bad connection. Okay. There's an email basically that's trying to say that our counterclaim and that was dated last Monday, 23rd/10/2017. There was no obligation to meet any man or woman. I'm not well at the moment, and also made it quite clear why am I being blocked the lawful disability reasonable adjustments, i.e. why the workmen of the company or Home Group Limited contractor company to offer the times after 12:30 to 5 o'clock. They start at 8 in the morning, normally, what they do for work from home, don't they? And they finish at 5 p.m. It's only because I cannot physically do anything about any mornings until after 12:30 with anything, because of my disabilities, right? And that's, they're refusing to respond to that. She did. Right? Going to the next inbox, because let me see, 22nd, that was just an automatic response to previous email. Here's the next one, 20, is that the same one? Let me just check. Yeah, it's the same one. I'm just going to quote the key one, which shows it keeps going on the same one. What's that key one? Bear with me. What date is that? automatic response, hotel cancellation, here's the one. Marge just says she's not in the office. Well, that's a bit strange. Oh well. Where's the one that says? Just bear with me, I'm trying to find it. The technology is playing up right now. Well, that is strange. Where is that gone? Because that email from Lisa was on the 21st of Saturday. So, yeah, there's no hotel booked. I just read about that. She didn't respond to my fact. All she done is the automatic response. I'm at the office kind of thing. Go back to that. Bear with me. I'm just looking as I'm talking. Yeah, that was dated the 24th of October. Thank you for your email. No longer in the office. I returned the 25th of the 10th last week. That's all. She didn't answer nothing in my email. And then out of the blue, let me go down to the important one. Here we go. Here we go. Found it. That was Monday. That was 2 emails the same day. Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah. Right. Here we go. Let's go to her email. Fiona in they call it CSC, Home Group Limited Complaints Department. Thank you for responding to my email. It is not my intention to cause any distress to you. Apologise. Well, of course they apologise, wouldn't they? Just to reassure you, you will not be charged for the hotel room cancellation. Well, hold on, there was no hotel booked in the first place, so she ignored what I said in my email. And the plan worked, indeed, for any other planned work to carry out in your home. Well, that was nothing what I said about my email. So my response, 24th of October, quite detailed, without prejudice. I only emailed to inform the offer to fund a disabled specialist service of care packages, extra costs I shall need paying for. This only bad connection. I'm not going to read the whole thing, I'm just going to skip through it. Okay, so this email details my last offer on that date, the 24th, 5 days ago, of October 2014. If I was going to move out, this is my willingness to work with them, even though they don't deserve it. So it's important to try and word things like one is trying to work. Oh, what's happened to this device? Come on. So I don't know if I'm still streaming, so bear with me. This blinking thing has just gone a bit crazy on me. Why does it always overheat? If you can hear me, I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, this device is just messing me about. Why does it do that? Okay, well, on the screen, it's just gone a bit strange on this phone. So, if it's still streaming, yeah, I can see it's, when I go on the back of the camera, yeah, it's still streaming, but I can't see if it says bad connection or whatever. That's bloody weird. If you can hear me, bear with me. I'm going to try and keep this stream short, but it's important to know that anyone that offers, you're counterclaiming an offer, and it looks like one is negotiating. So if it goes to Kangaroo Court, this evidence in an email detailing that there's actually, if they want me to move out my home for the works, and still haven't provided the evidence I've been requiring all this time to get the works done, because it's winter now, isn't it, coming up? So I'm keen to get it done. And all these requirements have been all ignored to date, so I'm not giving in. It was just my way of saying, right, my friend and I have found a place up in Blackpool. As I said, I think early in the stream, hope you can hear me, that if they claim it's not fit for purpose, well, there's a hotel that meet my needs, medical equipment, care, but it's going to cost them more, and with the transport. And so therefore, that's the only reason I'm responding. And also, no, I've still not heard any offer by the public sector side, adult health, social care. Yeah, assessment, referral, nothing. It's 5 weeks, nothing since I made the first call, because the hospital people wouldn't do that for me. And so therefore, they were trying to imply, oh, could we, there was one of the emails, I can't find it right now, we're not going to have time to do that. It was like the wording was trying to imply they could work with social services. Be careful when they offer that. Be careful because of the Care Act 2014 and safeguarding within that. Be careful about your data with that. Be careful because they could talk about you behind the scenes. Because I also mentioned in the email, well, hold on. If you're meant to be offering, like it says the Home Group Limited website, Stonham, support and care, but on the particular website of Stonham, they don't help. It doesn't say anything about helping men and women with physical disabilities. If you're an ex-offender, God forbid, if one is got a drink or drug problem, if it's just standardised, all learning disability people, yes, give them that, but nothing else. So I quoted, well, how come you haven't offered any referral to that service in housing in my area on policy referral, question mark. She didn't get back to that. So then I say in the email, I said I offer and reject also then to move on to stage 2 complaint, which goes into, in that procedure, when you look at any housing company complaint procedure, it should say stage 2 means, on this point of view, in this housing company, independent panel made up of people that rent their homes. Well, when you go onto the Facebook page at Home Group Limited, you see what people say about that complaints procedure in statute law. I ain't going to say much about that, but you can check it out for yourself if you care to do so. Then it just says, I'll go on to just briefly say, I shall be left with no choice but to contact a lawyer myself if the agreement is not able to be reached with Mark, ACA, or the in-house lawyer of this particular housing company. As all my emails and letters to date I've sent under duress have failed to uphold one's lawful rights, and I'll quote the Equality Act 2010, Human Rights Act 1998. Then I'll go into say, I expect my counterclaim offer of 24th of 10th 2014 shall be able to be met, and the works then be able to move on. Okay, and without the loss of one's right to one's home within the secure tenure I have since 2009 to date. I'll just briefly go on to say I'm still not have full details of who the local team are. They keep quoting the same things in the emails. As I know, workmen and women from the home group company, housing repairs company they hire to date on behalf of Home Group. So I just briefly going to say about their contract managers. I know who they are. So provide the job title roles or what's required, reference to this other female's email, Lisa, what she refers to as local team, who they are. Give the times and dates whose claims have spoken to me. I'll be grateful. She failed to do that. Then, that due to the nature of one's illness, unable to cope any offer of meetings, claim face-to-face. Very hard to cope with. Hence, emails quote and a comma, and then go on to say, provide a copy of adult safeguarding policy at Home Group Limited. That's crucial to find out if they've got their own in-house policy on this adult safeguarding for disabled people, in their opinion, who they believe is vulnerable, right? And also if they have a referral process, okay, in-house also on this. And I hope I'm still streaming because I can't see the screen on the phone now. If this has ever been used about me, if so, by whom and what dates and what grounds and by whose consent, in line with the Care Act 2014 Statute Act, by the way. I have never consented by any man or woman or any company as I know. I have been talked off behind my back by housing employees and mail back in June. And this was reference to that issue I won't go into right now. I've never consented to that process, as I found out since today, because I keep diaries and journals of things. I expect a factual correct records to be held, a lawful due process used, and then in this recent email of a woman called Fiona, is not a correct fact which I claimed about a hotel being booked and it wasn't. I'm unable to spell, bear with me, and then I'd like to know whom you need to speak with in my counterclaim offer. References hotel. I said it's a Bond Hotel in Blackpool. I quoted the website I found it on, and if you want to know the website to help you in other matters and disability issues, whether it's housing or care or what's going on, and access to mainstream things at the moment, you can look in the website disabledgo.com. It will give you some information. That's how I found out what accessible hotels around. There isn't any around my area, by the way. So this is mainly like a holiday type hotel, but package of cares and various things I'd need. So that's what my last supper was last Tuesday. See, I try to work. I've done everything. So that is what I sent. And just clarify the date. I'm going to go back to the date I sent that. Oh yeah, and this is a key thing, by the way. I was only given 1 week's notice to move out of to alleged hotel room. 1 week's notice. That is not upholding Equality Act 2010, let alone or what I've said already today. So that offer had to be rejected without dishonour. So where's this recent email that I think you need to know about if anyone gets similar. Yeah, so she didn't respond to my last offer of the 24th of the 10th, just an automatic response. And then next minute, out the blue, there was his next email. Let me just find it. They're called Diane. My name is Diane. I'm a manager who looks after general needs properties in one's area. Your email, without my consent by the way, has been passed to me to assist in making arrangements for the repairs. Again, not a wet room, quoting bathroom floor. Would it be possible for myself and another female housing manager, who I don't know by the way, it could be the very one that harassed me when I was in hospital, to visit you to discuss with you your needs and possible temporary accommodation, not hotel this time by the way. They haven't answered any of my offer, which they've got a copy here. It clearly states this was sent in the afternoon 4:30, 24 October to Fiona, and this got automatically disregarded because here is crucial. This is how this individual, I don't know if Madam, house employee of this company, Home Group Limited, has failed in disability lawful reasonable adjustments again as well. No, for her first time, but the same procedure, same, all the emails the same, sort of like worded and behaviours. Then it says she'll be in the area Tuesday, Halloween Day of all days, 31st October 2017, and the same week, 2nd of November, this coming week, 2017. Could we call to see you at 10:45 a.m. on either of those days? Please could you let me know if either of these days are suitable for you. When I already put in this email to Fiona, all the details about how my care needs are, the times, what I need, how long for, because now they've gone backtrack on what they offer. Now they're trying to use someone else. Now what she's gone and done, there's Diane, and I'm going to bring her up. She's put in CCC, so means copied in to the very original guy called Stephen, contracts manager of Home Goods Limited in one's area, about the workroom. He's behind all this, basically. He's copied a guy called David. I found out on a linking page who he's connected to as well. So in other words, she's copied in automatically, without my consent, this guy, Stephen, that started off the unlawful harassment as well. This guy, he is just a title contracts manager. He's not the lead in contracts manager, just a job title. And this female called Rose. No, what's she called? Diane. Okay. And this other unknown female. So that's 2, that's 4 of them. And then this other female, Fiona, that's 5. So 5 more people. Bloody hell. 5 more people. So right, we're going to see my response to her offer. Right. Dated. My mate sent it for me Saturday, and she had to stay overnight because I've been very, very poorly. And still am. Right, it's just one sentence. Second notice of opportunity, copy of second notice of opportunity of design and opportunity care sent on behalf of who I am, re-amended and recant claim offer, dated Friday 27th 10th 2017. The truth of the correct facts, subject first sent to CEO Mark and the lawyer Kate, head office Home Group Limited. With me. Oh my god. It's 4 pages long. But I'm not going to read it all. It's just what was originally sent on the 23rd of 10th 2017. Monday last week. And my conditional acceptance of offer, recant claim offer. And again, it detailed the head office. And it's copied in Diana Rose, Central Area UK, house employee. Right. And just at the top of it, I just amended it. And it's about the victimisation, harassment, and on grounds of less favourable treatment, unlawful discrimination due to my disability, violations of my dignity, creating intimidation actions, wordings in this previous employee's letter, 25th of 9th 2017, and it's page 1. Hostile, degrading, humiliating treatment, threats if I do not consent to meet him, and quote of the company, and the guy has been here before doing the assessment, which I did under duress, only allow access, and I quoted the date I did that before. I claimed of assessment in the workroom, and I just briefly outlined again, reference to my previous letters. I just refer them to my emails again, I just go around in circles as this with them lot. Emails, comments keep changing, now imply to date requirement to move out my home. Known already, all emails are sent under duress. My daily high care medical needs, medical loan equipment needs, which equipment I've got here, with facts of other illness and disabilities, and quoted again about Stephen in his letter, and still causing me the harm, alarm, distress by using all these other 4 to 5 people, well, excluding him, it's 4, 2 men, 2 women, to further harass me and to use it in this manner again recently. It's just quoted the date of this email, my response back. Demanding comments on me alone again, and then I just refer back to what I was originally offering the intent in contract law, i.e. 3-day period over doing the wet room repair and provide assessment reports. So I'm just really briefly outlining that. Now they will not read this. They will just, this is my evidence to show can go court that I've done everything in honour and lawful. So they deliberately brushed all of my attempts to work with him, to set aside, to brush it all aside, and that's caused by Home Group Limited Company, Mighty Property Service Limited, all men and women to date, to block, this is why it's important to realise, any dealings of anyone in similar situations to I. It's bloody hard work. To correct the factual, well, to correct my facts, their incorrect facts and first-hand knowledge, and not even offer any lawful reasonable adjustments and goods and services. And whether it's repairs or whatever what you're dealing with, whatever subject you're dealing with, whatever company, public, private you're dealing with to date in 2017, there is a deliberate intention. So it clearly shows all the emails, my responses, so when it goes to Kangaroo Court, I will bloody well hold them accountable, because no lawyer or no judge I would have thought at least, could see that I've not engaged, can see that I've made an offer to move out, to see that I've required more complex health care, social, medical needs, that I've offered to do this and show the information in the emails in black and white, right? And shows their attitudes of their employees towards me and their lack of responsibilities and wayward, dismissing all of my facts of first-hand knowledge. And their role, they've got 7 men and women, in total 7 men and women as lawyers in the housing company. And the key housing policies, I'm not sure how other housing companies work in UK for people who are disabled and complex ill health are being treated, but I'm giving a sample for my situation to aid you if it helps. I don't know if I'm still streaming on this thing. Oh yeah, I am. Just showing you on the cat thing there. So basically it shows I've done every possible thing and word possible, factual, spread it out, protection of vulnerable adults, included that again, the effects of all this of goods and services on my health again, and I've got the medical evidence, and yeah, so, and they're completely blocked everything. Now they've even offered to store my stuff they even offered to pay to put my goods, if I moved out temporarily, right, in storage. They haven't provided how they're going to do that. Is a men and women on CBR checked? How my medical equipment is going to be protected? All these key elements, not just about moving out, not just being somewhere safe, but also the elements, are they going to use, if you've got gas, electric, all of these extra things people with disabilities need to take into consideration, and these employees have no clue, because they would have mentioned it. I mentioned about the safeguarding, if there's been any concerns still. I've mentioned about the Care Act 2014 still. I mentioned repeatedly the same facts about discrimination. And how many pages is that? Yeah, 5. And again, this is all aimed at to push people, everything, just clearly shows everything, black and white, what they're saying, what I've said, what I've tried to do, what they're not doing, how they've failed in every aspect. And gosh, it's been how long? As I said, many months now. So they will not let up, absolutely not let up. And now here, again, I mentioned, please provide me. I require the copies of all factual reports why they're claiming I need to move out to do the works. Put it in black and white. And they're all the emails, there's so many of them. Responses have failed to offer that. Think about it. Why? Think. If you're able to read between the lines, if you get blocked to access the information and you're constantly getting these automatic responses without offering response to your questions and requirements, you can see there's a pattern behind it for a reason. And when you research, the new process is now in place in UK for people like you see how they're pushing people into controlled care environments. How is that going to save the public bloody purse? So, I gave them opportunity to cure. I gave them the opportunity to make the reasonable adjustments. I've given the opportunity to work with me. No, they're still trying to push a face-to-face to serve notice on me. And they're going to use this grant, by the way. That's why they turned it into major structural repair work, allegedly claimed, a grounds to seek possession and moving into a care act. That's how they twist all these words. That's why I've had to learn and read carefully how they repeat their terminology and the wording. And they don't think I picked it up, but I have. So that's when I started researching the statute law recent stuff. And sorry if you're still hanging in there and commenting. I can't read anything because the phone's played up. Brand new phone, and I don't know what's gone on with it. So I know it's still streaming. So I've done everything. I've done absolutely honourable in statute law and contract law. I have been honourable in everything. So and recently, for example, proof they work from home. This guy turns up at 20 to 9 in the morning for a female that lives around the corner, opposite flat, able-bodied, and gets what she needs. All these able-bodied people around me, they get repair, report it, and gets done straight away. Anything I need done, they're blocking everything. The main door, you know what's going on. So I have done everything. I've even tried to say, okay, if you want me out, the suitcase is still packed. This is what will be better to suit my needs. They even blocked that. I can't believe it. I could not believe it when I got this extra email. So, no, I'm not going to meet them. And I'm not refusing entry, by the way, because they can't use that as an excuse to seek possession of this flat, because I've already got copies and proof that I've allowed them in to do the assessment of these workmen, to do their assessments of the wet room, right? There's no need to meet the housing employees because I've been all the correspondence of proof in their Kango court system, right? But I've been negotiating with them and there's no grounds to seek possession. The only thing they will be going on, which I read up in the Housing Act, as I quoted earlier, is the words they've used: a major structural repair, unsafe to live here. And this is the only reason they want those two females to see me, who I don't know, to trick me in their wording, to say, oh my goodness me, it's unsafe here, we need to call up social services people straight away and to get into emergency accommodation, i.e. care home. Do you see where I'm going with this? You might not, but if you stop and replay the stream, it's up to you. But this is how they do it. This is what's going on now. So this, oh God, it's going to take a lot of ink to print this out. But I'm going to stop now. Miracle. Sorry, it's a long stream, but oh my gosh, you know, when you tried everything and you know you got your lawful rights and you've got equal access to goods and services in statute law as well, within the contract law that I've learned over the years, they do not want anyone, unfortunately, waking up to know your lawful rights, to hold them accountable. And these men and women, all due respect, if they ever, God forbid, lose their jobs, their homes, or end up in similar situations to I or anyone that's listening to us, you know, your disability is ill, permanent health, you know, if this is going on in United Kingdom, right, in 2017, what on earth? Logically, when you think about it all and you take yourself out of the picture, you put yourself into someone else's shoes with similar position, but, you know, you're looking at all this and what any lawyer, if they could ever get their butt together, you know, the process, they would have a field day to sue this. I want it to go public, right, in their Kango court, because I will absolutely expose how national statute policies in 2017 within not just housing, but it's all integrated, is not meeting people with my situation, you know, complex ill health, disability needs, you know, it's not simply just moving out. You got your belongings, you got your medical equipment, you got this, that and the other. None of all these emails offers are stating anything how they're going to be met. So what does that tell you? Direct discrimination. And it's so I'll just end this now with go back and check that report. Find this out for yourself. Don't take my word for nothing. I'm just quoting what is happening in reality, what I've researched for fact. And it's not going on conspiracy route. It's not going on for nothing. But if you dare wake up to many subjects over the years like I, and you're in my situation, you ain't going to get no help for nobody in the mainstream, because they're all interconnected together. And when you know certain people that's going on, and certain, I can't make that public, but certain individuals are well connected, and when you contact a political counsellor in one's area, they're meant to work for you, right? And seeking offer to, you know, to at least sit in on a meeting or something, you don't get a response. What does that tell you? And she goes on, the individual goes on social media promoting her political thing, what she's doing. It's all bloody controlled. Oh gosh, yeah, I knew this anyway, but I just thought I'm going to use a system not against them, but I'm going to use the same system they're using, but knowing what I know. But I'm not going to let them on what I know, how it works. But it shows in their Kango court system that I've done my honourable thing. But yet, why the hell should I go this far? Do you know what I mean? All these employees should be clued up and trained up to help people in our situation if you're similar to me, right? But don't forget how difficult it will be for people who haven't got the skills or computer literacy, who doesn't have the skills or ability because of blindness or other types of learning disabilities, who might be very isolated with psychological other illnesses. That, you know, I've had to put myself in a kind of stable situation to try and get myself to be able to respond like this. And the reason they keep bombarding me like this is to make me break down, to give up, to give in. Do you think I'm going to do that easily? No. I'm going to do it honourably and lawfully. I know I need to go somewhere else eventually, but the due lawful processes is to somehow hire a company that has got the checks I need, that can help me move I need, and make sure the I's and T's are dotted in their statute system so it doesn't look like I'm intentionally making myself homeless. Because that's a key thing you need to look into before you volunteer anything. Your lawful God-given rights, how all these changes are implemented that makes it anything. If you go and try and sign up, there's no such thing as shadow housing, right, anymore. Nothing. And there's waiting lists in statute law. All the bidding systems changed deliberately. The Localism Bill 2001 is deliberately changed. It's all geared up to push people, anyone in a similar situation, like I, into care establishments. That's why they've changed national policies to implement everywhere in the United Kingdom, as I quoted earlier in the stream. It's when you start connecting the dots and you put it into not just this situation or my situation, but in the bigger picture, you see, and you're not going off your head about it all, because you're keeping a journal, you're keeping a diary, you can see the pattern of things, and you're keeping your log, like the emails, for example, like they do. So you got the evidence, key evidence, photographs or dispute pairs, key evidence of what said, who said. Be aware of your surroundings, because any cold calling at your home uninvited is harassment, you know, but holding them accountable when the system is always working against you. You need to be careful and learn about contract law as well, and how to word things. And I know it's difficult when you're not well, and you really have no, it's just really best to watch videos, if you got time, that is, or ability, that is. And I would suggest one thing to start, if you'd like to know, is known as Fiona Chapman. It's common law versus statute law. So what I'm quoting in the Act means statute law. No man and woman, a man and woman, is equal to you and I in the general sense, where they have a job, no matter what role they play in that company, public or private. They don't have any authority over you, another man or woman, without your implied or express actions or verbal consent in writing or otherwise. So bear in mind, your actions or intent could be implied to the other party as consent. So be very careful, as I quoted earlier. Record everything if you're able to. Get witnesses if you're able to keep documentations if you're able to. It's very important. I'm going to go because I need to get my rest. But please bear in mind this. Now, a solution, a remedy is not happening for me. I am not too worried about it because I know what's going to happen. It's just another stage of my life that is going to be a nightmare. I'm not going to be happy with, but I know. But I'm not silly, and despite these individuals who want to make me isolated from everything, I've got the evidence. I've even contacted, well, my mate did the email today on a Sunday, so the guy could get it in the morning to chase up this law company and housing disrepair to see what the hell's going on with all my data I sent off ages ago. And what on earth? Okay, so, and be careful even when you go on social media, because they will search. I'm not being negative on that, so be careful what you say, but please check out your housing company employees. Oh yeah, by the way, if this helps you, please check out what victimisation means, the failure to make reasonable adjustments. It's Equality Advisory Support Service, EASS, and especially when it comes to Human Rights Act 1998, Statute Law, Equality Act 2010. I'm very informative today. Okay, I'm going to quote a phone number. Oh, by the way, the template letter you can get. Oh, where is it? Hold on. They sent a link, and I do believe I tried to download it. Well, the link they've done, click to follow link. Well, hold on. Okay, so look up the, I'll repeat this for you if you can hear me. Equality Advisory Support Service in UK. It's a phone number, and be careful if you can afford it or not. They've got a Facebook page, Equality Advisory Support, and a phone number 0808 00082, but they cannot give you any, like a lawyer, just basic advice on, as I quoted. I can't even, what the hell did she do that? Answer link. I can't even get that. Meant to. I've been able to open that link. This email response. I made a query by email and I can't even open the link. So that's not very helpful, is it? It's not accessible if you can't open a bloody link. Ah, that's bloody ridiculous. I can't even open that bloody link. Right. Why is it in Word document? I don't want it to be all files. Let's just go on that one. I'm just trying to see what it was and to help quote what this means about premises. If it opens in the software I've got. Bear with me if you're still hanging in there. Okay, yeah, I've got the software to open it up. Let's hope it opens correctly. Okay, here we go. To the landlord, the Court and Housing Act. Okay. I would like to accept this letter as a formal complaint of victimisation of the premises. And it doesn't really quote what's happened, but I've already put that. It's a template letter. Reference the Equality Act 2010. Victimisation places a duty on the controller of premises and landlord to ensure they do not subject another individual, i.e. man or woman, to a detriment because they believe they have a protected characteristics, which is obviously your disability. So let me just reread this, just briefly. It's very brief. This one is to you really need to check out what these words are if you don't understand this. detriment, because they believe they have done a protected act or may do a protected act, such as state the protected act. It's bloody hard work when you're trying to find out Equality Act, how this implements. And it goes on to say, I have tried to resolve the matter informally, and already my emails quotes what I tried to do, but I've not received a satisfactory outcome. I'm making a formal complaint. I've done that already because I knew about how to do it in contract law. I would like an explanation as to why I'm treated this way. In your response, please let me know your plans to rectify the situation and how you intend to prevent this happening again. Well, they're quoting 28 days. When you're dealing with housing disrepair, you haven't got 28 days. You know what I mean? They would just come straight down at you. And unfortunately, I thought I saved that. Let me save that in documents. And let me just go on the next one. That might help you. If it will open again. This one is related to victimisation. You might want to go into it. It's frustrating when things don't want to open in the software one has. No, I don't want to save it there. I want to save it there. Downloads. Could be the same one. Yeah, it's the same one I quoted. Right. Yeah, okay, so really just if you don't want to use contract law or what I quoted about the video to learn statute law versus common law from, then these template letters of the reference to Equality Act 2010 it's just repeating what I just said. So, and again, 28 days is a long time when you're dealing with a crucial matter, so you might not have that time. Okay, so thank you for bearing with me in a very, very long, and even when you're ringing up the shelter of Iceland, they cannot offer face-to-face support, even a Kango court, even citizens of ICE in statute law. It's just unreal what's going on. So just be it's a warning really of is unresolved. A lot of things. This advice service I quoted is just that, and they don't, in statute law quoting, they do not offer legal advice. Well, when you realise what statute law is. But please bear in mind about your rights as secure attender. I don't know if this has helped in my stream for anyone today, and whether it gets uploaded. But if you want to, what's that? Just bear with me. Okay, that's no good. Sorry, I was just diverted. Right. So yeah, even when when my mate went on Facebook to check out your housing company, see what it's been said if they got reviews page. Bear with me, there's a clicking noise. Can't believe how bloody dark it gets this time of day. Right, I'm gonna do, if you're sorry about this, it's been a long stream today, but I'm gonna put in Home Group House Association. Right, your Facebook page. Okay, we found it. And we'll just click on the left hand side of the page for reviews. That's what you do. And coming up now. Newcastle head office. Okay, the last one we got 28 September. And we got an ex-employee even commenting about that. What they call it, they call this, a few years ago, I would have been writing a positive review. However, since they've changed the way they interact with customer to streamline the process of their service, has been obnoxious. I've lived in my shared ownership flat for over 10 years, yet whenever you call the customer centre, they can never find the address when you report something on the app. It's hit and miss. If you get response to say the job has been logged and don't even think about getting any, let me just see, notification of when the repair is scheduled or notification of work has been completed. 2 years ago, he reported a faulty lighting. It took them, It took them 18 months and numerous alleged attendance by electrician, ignored complaints by 2 staff, 2 letters. This is the one I'm talking about. I'm about to send something to. God forbid I only get anywhere with this one then. 2 letters to Home Group's independent complaints panel, both of which ignored and not replied to. My God. I'm not surprised. Then it goes on to, before going through the housing ombudsman. Right, you see, you try to go through a political, so-called political councillor MP, and they're meant to help you through using this service, housing ombudsman in the UK, and you still don't get anywhere. So what then? That's why I started to learn about contract law, because I've had experiences and other things as well over the years. So he goes on to say, until they were finally fixed 6 months ago. Bloody hell. It's even laughable. This is a faulty light which they said needs to be replaced, but which they eventually repaired was replaced a week or so ago. So that we reported it how long? Let me just check. 18 months ago. And this is dated, the post, 28 September 2017. Oh my God. No wonder I'm going through. So that's just one. Now he goes on to say, he used to be a part of the viewpoint team for Home Group Limited. And strangely, all the invites for meetings are stopped. Because he dare hold them accountable, you see. And he's an able-bodied man. We currently have a broken fire closer door, which has been waiting repair since August the 18th, 2017. which could have been repaired when they came to repair another broken closer door. But it would seem that scheduling several jobs to be done at the same time at the same location is beyond them. It's being patronising, not surprised. I've logged an antisocial behaviour issue in August 2017, and he's never received paperwork and is still waiting. Then he logged a complaint 4 weeks ago and not received a response. So now there's no way I would recommend the organisation to anyone. I suspect I will get a standard please contact us via PM and live chat on this Facebook customer service centre response, which is ironic, causing that this review covers the fact that these processes fail to actually result in any satisfactory outcome. That's just one review. And then you just got somebody who is, this is an older lady actually in her 90s. This woman's aunt was stuck in the bath as the electric seat failed to lift her out. She was in great distress and called us to help her family member. Although we have a key to our property, we could not get a spare main door fob to get into communal door, which this is a problem I've got around my area when the communal buzzer systems don't work, intercom. Then she says my aunt was left severely upset until we could able to locate another individual that lives in the block to open the door. As this was during the day and people were at work, it took a while to gain entry. This is a 90-year-old woman, by the way. I have contacted customer service to ask for another fob key and have spoken with several advisors who have passed me this one on the housing manager. Just get rid of that notification. And she had no phone call, this woman. No response or fob has materialised. God forbid anything serious happened to a 90-year-old aunt in her flat in the meantime. Apparently, a 90-year-old who is vulnerable, and that's what I quote about the Vulnerable Act 2000, Protection of Vulnerable Adults policy. So this woman goes on to this review, Home Group Limited, right, on this Facebook page. Apparently, 90-year-old who is vulnerable is not a high priority. See what I mean? What I'm going through. I've chased up this several times and been promised a call back and I'm still waiting. Oh, that was dated 4th September this year, 2017. There's just more and more and more of this. And they just go on to say they're the biggest house association in UK with a turnover of 350 million. If that's the case, oh, well, they're pushing people in care homes and out of their own homes now to date. 2nd of October, right, this month. I have not signed for my property with Home Group in Cumbria, but was matched to it in July the 6th. So I informed my son's nursery he would be returning in September. As yet, I'm still in my old property, and my son is out nursery. I was told after I lost my son's place in nursery, the Home Group house I'm waiting on, and needed full rewire and central heating boiler system, a new bathroom, a new kitchen. I've been waiting 70 working days and as yet is not being completed. In my housing I'm with at the minute has been great extending my notice every time. Now apparently the house should be completed today and expected this week, but I'm still none the wiser as to when we are moving, and I have to book a van and a man and inform hospitals, all the usual things when you're moving. And she goes on to say, we are moving and I have to book a man, a van, hospitals, consultants, my surgeons, as I'm having my final operation of cancer. My God, they treat cancer people like this. Also, related in December, this is like next month, but don't know where I'll be living. I know the work needs to be done, Does it take 70 days in the meantime? I could have applied for another property, and that was available to me straight away, and my son to be settled, and everything else sorted. I think it's disgusting the length of time we have to wait. I've emailed and texted and got no response. And she's got a 3-year-old son. My God, and that's a lady, bless her heart, suffering from cancer with a 3-year-old child. And this is dated the 2nd of October 2017. And this is what Home Group UK Limited are like. Not just people like, obviously, myself, anyone similar to me. Oh, yeah, and here we go. You see? Call it streamlined. And I just briefly, you just said, check out yourself. You know? You just they log, i.e. complaint, pass it to local housing manager. Housing manager says this isn't the info that was put on their system. We are on our 3rd, must say a lot. Then this other guy's quoting something reference to how he's trying to use the complaint system and how the housing managers, employees get the wrong information being passed back to passing around the circle, going around in a ring, and they claim to log complaints, get the correct picture, and they're not. And then he goes on to summarise and he says, money grabbers, they're just money grabbers, i.e. to get your rent, and they will get away with it all if they can. We've had to fake a certificate for a 10-year warranty on windows and doors, and the company says they've never made them here for Home Group. Oh my God. So again, you get any negative, they're all negative reviews, by the way. They're all people's experiences, right? And then you just even look into all these ones. You just read them. And it is true about the kitchens, the walls falling apart. Let me just read this one because this is similar to what's happening to my flat. The kitchen's falling apart, the windows don't close properly, the mould, the communal walls, the broken locks and stairwells, unsecure bin, shed, mean anyone can get into it, insecure buildings. I mean, all the whole list of what she's quoting in this other woman on 4th of July this year, and the phone call she's made and what she's done about it, what she's tried to get a remedy, is also falling through, and how she's been talked to rudely, and the area, well, it's not area housing manager because you don't have one anymore. Housing manager for the area rarely responds to emails. My God. Oh my goodness me. So you just go through a standardized number, right? And here we go again, someone else. Force Home Group to do repairs because it breaches health and safety requirements. So we got another one posted about this. Sorry if you're still hanging in there. You might be bored and falling asleep by now with my tone of voice. Someone set up a Home Group Limited. Force Home Group to do repairs. Home Group Housing Association are failing tenants to do repairs on health and safety grounds. People are being ignored, left in disrepair conditions. That's what's happening to me, affecting their health and mental health. Home Group simply do not care, and repairs team are cowboys. Home Group even threatened with revenge evictions for requesting repairs by issuing notices to quit. Section 21, in the hope a tenant will just leave. There has been reports of intimidation, abuse from housing managers. That's what I'm going through, resulting in the properties constantly left in dangerous disrepairs and tenants not being heard, and no matter what. Most of young children living in such degraded environments. Well, I'm unfortunately disabled as well. Home Group tenants are at the wit's end. Such concerns just to be ignored, from leaks and holes in ceilings to minor jobs. But most shockingly, missing fire doors are serious breach of health and safety. The list is endless. We are acting now. Because it breaches all health and safety statute law and contracts between home group and tenants, ultimately breaking the Housing Act law and their own agreement. How it will be delivered. Chairman of HCA Regulation Committee. My God, so what date was this? I'm looking for a date. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. It's 3 days ago. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. If I'm streaming live, oh my, well, obviously if it's still streaming live, I can see it is. I don't, but it is connected still. Oh my gosh, I'm going to quote you the website www.38degrees in the words .org.uk, sorry. I'll repeat that because I've got my words twisted because I'm in shock by what I'm reading. Right. There's letters 38 degrees and it's .co.uk to Home Group Limited, force Home Group to repairs. A female called E.M. Louise. Jesus bloody. I knew this, so let me just go in that bit so you know. Home Group even threatens with revenge evictions for requesting repairs by issuing notices to quit. That's why they want that face-to-face meeting. Be careful about that then. And Section 21, look at the Housing Act 1998 and 1989. Quotes here, in the hope a tenant will just leave. And all what I just said today before seeing this, reports of intimidation, abuse for housing managers. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm just typing email in there to link this up so I can refer to it. I knew it all along. There's something else behind this, you know. So you got a Facebook and then you got that website I just quoted. Oh, I just quoted. Please check it out. Please be aware. I don't know what other company, any housing company, social housing is happening to as well. Okay, so my God. God. Oh God. It's no wonder everything's been falling apart this past year and what I've been experiencing. I'm going to save that page. So I'm going to end this stream. I have to end it now because bloody go away. Just trying to get rid of this. Not you. This stuff on this this computer. Let me just save this page. Jesus Christ. Excuse my bluntness. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just yet again. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh my goodness me. So despite disabilities, yeah, that's what it's all about. They want to meet you and if you can't, you know, you secure tender, they take you to court. They're going to use major disrepair issue. That's why they worded everything. It all links up now, doesn't it? Even what I've been doing myself and all these other people, what they've been saying and what I'm looking at. Jesus, my goodness me, goodness me, goodness me. Oh gosh, my gosh. If only my, oh my gosh. That is absolutely, I've got to share that. I've got to share that. Oh my goodness, we had to share that. Oh my gosh. Yes, how do you share that on your page? I just can't see what the button is to share this link. Okay, I'm just going to try and do that. Just bear with me. I'm going to get off the stream. Oh, they're not sharing the views. Well, don't promote Home Group Limited if you can't share the same views on their page. Good gosh. So Emma MISSES on Facebook, and it's on Home Group Limited. Home Group Association Facebook page is the link you want to see what I'm just reading. It's https://u.38degrees.org.uk/force-home group to do repairs. Please check it out. My gosh. And oh yeah, and that was dated. My gosh, no wonder it's all gone pear-shaped. That was dated the 14th of July this year. And then this has been added 17th October 2017. My God, no wonder what's going on with me. Right, look, I've got to go. Thank you very much for being with me. If you have been bored, I'm sorry about that. But this is absolutely shows what's going on. Thank you. Sorry, I don't know what I've been doing with this bloody phone. Yeah, I'm going to stop.